I'm Jen, and I'm here to talk to you today about what we at Google are doing to help the next billion people come online and have a great experience doing it. The video you just saw about Google Translate is a great example of how our technology can serve people all over the world. Making the world's information accessible and useful to people everywhere has been at the heart of what Google does right from the start. That's why we're so excited about this powerful shift taking place right now. More and more people are getting their first smartphone. And for many of them, that mobile phone will be their very first computer. These next billion people will have a profound impact on mobile computing, both as users and as creators. And so we're thinking very carefully about how we evolve both our products and our platforms to address their particular needs. Put yourself in the shoes of someone coming online for the first time on a smartphone today. You want to tap into the wealth of information out there on the web and in apps. You want to learn about the world and connect to the people and the places in it. But life in Sao Paulo is very different from life in Mumbai, and each country brings its own unique challenges and opportunities. The bulk of new smartphone growth over the next several years is happening in just a handful of key countries. In fact, in the next 2 years, we expect to see 1.2 billion smartphones sold across just the 6 countries you see here. And just in case it's not clear, this is a huge opportunity for Android developers. As Sundar mentioned, nearly 8 out of 10 new phones shipping worldwide are Android devices. And the vast majority of the next billion will be Android users. We're excited about what we're already seeing from the community of Android developers. And let me give you a taste of how we're working at Google to bring people online and to give them a great experience once they get there. First, we want to remove barriers to smartphone adoption. People buying devices for the first time in these markets too often encounter low-quality hardware or out-of-date software. Go to a store in Jakarta or Jaipur, and you'll see a huge display of phones on sale. But not all of them are able to run the latest and greatest apps. Our Android One effort is all about enabling high-quality and up-to-date smartphones at a great value. We've worked very closely with our hardware and carrier partners to make it possible to create these better devices. Last year, we introduced Android One in India with phones from 3 OEM partners. Now, Android One devices are available in 7 countries, including India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, the Philippines, and as of just a few weeks ago, Turkey. All of this was done through collaborations with more than 10 OEMs and many other ecosystem partners, with more on the way. We're also building support for features that are particularly useful in these emerging markets, like dual SIM cards, a replaceable battery, and built-in FM radio. And of course, Android One phones run the up-to-date version of Android and are among the very first to receive new versions of Android. Our hope is that Android One will continue to spur innovation across the ecosystem so that all phones, no matter who build them, get better and more affordable for the next billion users. Now, speaking of devices, Chromebooks continue to have incredible traction around the world. Chromebooks come at a wide range of price points and have a growing range of features and capabilities. This is allowing first-time users and even schools to get high-quality devices for an affordable price point. It's now possible to buy a quality Chromebook laptop that's fast, secure, and has all-day battery life for under $150. There are over 10 million students using Chromebooks around the world today, and tens of thousands of new Chromebooks being lit up every single school day. In addition to our platforms, we're also focused on making sure our core Google apps are fast, useful, and relevant, no matter where you are in the world. We know having access to the full range of information on the internet can have a transformative impact on people's lives. I'm reminded of the story of Zach, a potato farmer in Kenya whose crops were dying, and he didn't know why. The books he had didn't give him any help. So he went to a cyber cafe and used search, and he found a website that suggested that sprinkling wood ash on his crops could help stop the ants that were killing them. He did this, it worked, and he wound up with a successful harvest. This is just one small example, but we see every single day how having access to good information can change people's lives everywhere for the better. Even with access to the internet, though, for many users in these fastest-growing countries, connectivity can be a real challenge. In some cases, data is just too expensive to make it practical to use in large quantities. And even if you do have access to a good internet connection, data transfer is still too often intermittent or slow. What does this mean in practice? It means that it can sometimes take minutes to load a medium-sized web page or a map, and even longer to buffer a video. So with this in mind, we're taking many of our core products and rethinking them in ways that work far better in a world where speed, size, and connectivity are central concerns. Let's start with Search and Chrome, two of our foundational products that facilitate people's first experience with the internet. We saw in Indonesia that loading a search results page was often taking as long as 8.5 seconds on a 2G connection. So last October, we launched a streamlined version of our search results page. It's 10 times smaller and 30% faster. Since then, we've expanded this light search results page to 13 other countries where users are often on slow connections. Now, once the search result page loads, the user should be able to click on a result and load the web page quickly. But on 2G, we saw that clicking on a result could often take an average of 25 seconds and use up to a megabyte of data, which can be very expensive. We're now optimizing the resulting web pages for users on slow connections, starting in Indonesia. These optimized pages load 4 times faster, use 80% fewer bytes, and most importantly, make it easier for users to find the information they want right when they want it. We've also found that these faster and lighter search results pages can reduce memory usage of the browser or search app by up to 80 megabytes. And since over a quarter of new Android devices have only 512 meg of RAM, that's like you're freeing up almost a fifth of the full memory on your phone. That's a big deal. And so we're now looking at enabling these changes for low memory devices across the board. We also know that everybody, everywhere, wants the fastest browsing experience possible. In India, we're starting to pilot a network quality estimator for Chrome, which evaluates the quality of the data connection you're on, and in response to lower bandwidths, adapts the fidelity of a web page. Behind me is a screenshot of the Times of India. And since we're on a slower connection, you'll see that we've replaced some of the images with placeholders, but we've kept the most important ones, like navigational icons and logos. This ensures that the page is both usable and fast. And because users everywhere can sometimes find themselves without an internet connection, we're working hard to support offline capabilities in Chrome on Android. This means that you'll be able to save any page you visit, be it a bus schedule, a news article, or in this case, a delicious recipe for egg biryani for later offline access. Turning to apps. YouTube is extremely popular around the world, especially in these growing markets. Video consumption is exploding on mobile. And people are also flocking to YouTube to tell their own local stories. In Indonesia, for example, YouTube creator Natasha Farani has seen more than 20 million views of her videos on how to style hijab scarves. YouTube videos can require a lot of bandwidth. So we just recently launched something called YouTube Offline in India, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. This lets you take a video offline for up to 48 hours and watch it, whether or not you've got an internet connection. We're continuing to look at ways to help video content become accessible to our growing base of YouTube mobile users around the world. Maps is another area where we're really investing in creating a better experience for the next billion users. We hear wonderful stories about how maps help people in their daily lives, like the story of two sisters in Brazil whose business was in a favela and was impossible to find on local maps. So we worked to train local residents to literally put the favelas on the map. And now, many of these businesses are seeing increased sales, more people are visiting their store each day, and many are able to hire new employees too. Most importantly, being on the map became something akin to a proof of existence for these businesses. Many of the entrepreneurs told us it gave them confidence in their business. The whole community benefited. We're constantly customizing the Maps experience to make it work better for users' local needs. For example, we're bringing our transit experience to new places all the time. So Google Maps can now help you navigate the transit systems of Mexico City and Sao Paulo, or travel by rail anywhere in India. Finally, we've been working hard to make Google Maps work offline. With offline maps, you won't need to suck down expensive data or have super reliable connectivity every time you want to navigate somewhere. Let's take a look. Let's pretend we're in Mexico City. I've saved this map previously on my phone. And just to show you that we're really talking about offline maps, let's go ahead and put the phone in airplane mode. OK, so now we're in airplane mode, no internet connection. But you'll notice that I can still do things like search for places. I've heard great things about the Museo Sumaya in Mexico City, so let's search for that. You can see that autocomplete works too. And once I pick the museum, even though I'm offline, I can still see the reviews and the opening hours. So I can learn about this place. And decide whether I want to go there. But that's not all. Now, for the first time, you can also get turn-by-turn voice directions offline as well. This looks like a pretty great museum, so let's go.
Dirígete hacia el este y, después, gira a la izquierda.
100 metros, gira a la derecha con dirección a eje 1 norte, Héroes de Granaditas.
Hopefully, at least a few out of there have good Spanish. There you have it. Now I can search and navigate in the real world, online or offline. We want users of Maps to be able to navigate and explore the world literally wherever they are, on a good connection or a spotty one. So we're excited about bringing Maps offline, starting later this year. Google is committed to making our platforms and our products work well for the next billion people who are going to come online. But it's not just about the work that we're doing. We're most excited by the entrepreneurship, the leadership, and the creativity that we see from developers in these markets, some of whom are here today. We're looking forward to working with all of you to build the future of mobile computing. Thank you.
The true value we can add to our society is to create opportunity. I've just been waiting for sort of the right context in Nigeria for me to do something that matters. The goal initially was to sell people these things.